Hey. Yeah. We love you, Corey. Thank you. I love you too. All right, so everyone's here to see The Craft, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, here's my little spill on The Craft because I've been doing these 90s reunions and 90s cast anniversaries, whatever you want to call it, starting with American Pie, 10 Things I Hate About You, even Bride of Chucky. And I'm so glad that this happened because it almost didn't happen. I was going to do Good Burger with Kel Mitchell, and I wanted to do The Craft next year as the actual anniversary. And the day the booking was due, Kel backed out of Good Burger, and I was like, I don't care if it's a year early, we want it now, let's do The Craft. So, I love this movie because my sister's 15 years older than me, and this is literally the only movie she would watch on VHS, that and Clueless, like over and over and over again. So what's really cool is this is one of the few movies that I've done that I haven't seen in a theater, so I want you guys to be as crazy as possible. And fun with it. And as almost often, I have a couple guests tonight, and it's actually thanks. I want to give thanks to Karen McCullough, who was the writer of 10 Things I Hate About You. I did my event here, and I guess she loved me so much that she put in a word with the director, who put in a word with one of our leading ladies here. And so tonight we have the director to do a little Q&A, Director Andrew Fleming and Actress Robin Tunney. Going way back there. First off, Andy, thank you for agreeing to come, and then pulling Robin. Thank you. I think everyone's pretty excited.
Thanks for having us.
No one knew Robin was officially coming, so a lot of people in line were like, what?
It's hard to get her to go places.
In the middle of the night.
It is late or early, depending. But, okay. Someone snuck in a hoarding. All right, let's actually kick it off with Andy really quick. So you are the director and the co-writer, but actually someone else came up with the story and you wrote the script with him. So how did the story initially start and how were you brought on board?
Peter Filardi, who wrote Flatliners, wrote the first version of the script, and I was just brought on as a writer. And I brought a bunch of story elements and ideas, and we worked separately. And I was just going to write it and then let somebody else direct it. But it cast a spell on me, and I decided I wanted to direct it, and then I ended up directing it. Sorry, it's a really bad joke. It's late. It's late.
It doesn't seem like it's the first time you've told it. It worked the first time.
So this movie deals obviously with witchcraft, but you actually kept it original to the actual chants and the spirits and things involved.
Yeah, we had Pat the witch, our technical advisor, and she gave us chants, and I was kind of pagan by the end of it. And she she wrote the chants that are in the incantations that are in the movie, and she wrote during post-production she wrote an incantation, said, I want this movie to be #1. So it was an incantation for the movie.
And it was #1.
And it was #1 at the bottom.
I remember after the film came out, it was coming out in Japan, and all I wanted to do was go to Japan. I called Andy, I was like, we're going to Japan! He's like, they don't want you in Japan, they want Pat the Witch. They were like not interested. Pat the Witch went to Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said Pat the Witch.
I think that you mentioned that you actually went to, rituals and actual cult-like things, and I was just wondering how awkward or odd that was, or were you open to the idea? How did that actually work?
I was into it. I was totally into it. No, the whole idea was that the witch movies always been like, they had black pointed hats and they were green, and I was like, let's make a movie that feels like it's what they actually do, what takes
Authentic, yeah.
Authentic, yeah.
And we went to like the spring Manon festival, I think
we were into it.
Yeah, I think Infruza was really into having things be authentic and.
She was a practicing Wiccan.
Yeah, speaking of her, obviously she's not here, and she didn't show up to the cemetery screening that Cinespia did last year. But I have to know, like, someone who acts that crazy so well in a movie, you have to wonder if they kind of are, in a good way, that crazy.
No, she's very nice.
Is she?
She's a really
She's
good actress.
not that crazy.
No. She's very nice. She's very chill.
She's a really good actress.
Okay. And then,
I think the ones that act sane are the ones you need to worry about.
that's actually true. Very true. So the interesting thing about you, Robin, was I just hosted Empire Records. Woo! Yes. I did the 20th anniversary of that movie, and even I had no idea that you had a month between Empire Records and this film. And so it's a two-part question. Dev decided that was your decision, I believe, as a character decision. It was not in the script. But when you did that decision, did you know that you're about to film another movie for 3 months? And
No, I had no idea, and I'd grown my hair out a bit. I think the first time I met Andy, I was bald. And then it had grown a little bit longer, and I decided I was going to bleach it blonde. And then they told me that they wanted me to go and do a screen test for the craft. And I really wanted to play Bonnie. I didn't want to play Sarah. I wanted Nev's part. And I was like, well, I have platinum blonde hair. I have to go get my hair made brown. And they turned it green, and I had bright green hair. And I was like, there's no way they're going to cast me in this movie as a Catholic schoolgirl. So I put a wig on for the screen test, and nobody at the studio knew I didn't have hair. And
I did.
it was like my dirty secret. It was like this bright green hair underneath the wig. And they eventually cast me as Sarah.
I had to talk Robin into playing the lead instead of playing the other part.
I was like, she's the good girl. You're going to want to stuff her in the locker and tell her to shut up. I don't want to play that girl. It's so much more fun to be bad. And like, Feruza was clearly going to play Nancy. I was like, I'll be somebody else. But yeah, and that wig was the bane of my existence for the whole, like, it took 2.5 hours to put on. I had to wax my hairline. So like, I think slowly throughout the film, my hairline gets further and further back.
It's further.
Forward?
Oh.
It was, I wanted to burn it when it was done.
it gets worse progressively. But how was it, you're the only girl here representing all 4 leads, but how was it working with Nev and Rachel and Feruza? And did you all get along? You all seem very close now, still 19 years later.
Yeah, we are. It was like a bonding experience, and I don't think any of us had any clue that the film was going to become sort of a cultural phenomenon. I mean, yeah, right, it's a cultural phenomenon! Like, throughout, like, it's like a cultural film! People watched it at, like, sleepovers and different things, like, through different generations. But we were making it and just sort of like young and excited, and the first screening it like tested well, and I remember Feruza Golding, she was like, I think the movie's gonna be big.
Yeah, well that was actually my question for Andy was, you speak a lot of the movie, what's great about this movie is we have deleted scenes and we have commentary and featurettes. A lot of these 90s movies don't have any sort of anything, and there's lost subplots and scenes. And what's great about The Craft is we have a few. There's a great one with Robin and Nev, where you're bringing her gifts to make her feel better for her surgery.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, yeah, I wanted to know more about, there was actually a few scenes that were cut between Robin and like Rachel and Nev. Was that a product of a test screening? Or was that something, you tested the film, how did that work?
No, it's just the normal thing with the movies. You shoot this much and it's too long and you just need to pare it down. And there was this sequence where it was like a dream where Feruza stabbed you in the chest. No, it's not.
It's not on the DVD either. So
It's not.
It's not.
Oh.
No.
No, where you had to wear that armature.
It was my birthday.
And she cried.
I had to like, basically they built a fake body into the back seat of the car with like enormous boobs too. I was like, thanks for that. And I was getting repeatedly stabbed, but my body was in the back of the hatchback, and I was like sticking my neck in.
Like a dream sequence.
Yeah, and it was like 12 hours in the weirdest position and contraption. At the end of the day, the crew was outside like with a cake, and I was inside the trailer crying because my back hurt. I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this movie.
And now the film is rated R, but you actually shot it as a PG-13 movie. You followed all the guidelines.
We did because actually we were trying to make a PG-13 movie, and then the Academy told us in advance, or no, the ratings board told us that because it was about witchcraft and there were teenagers in it, it would be R regardless. So we just added profanity and some violence, which they wouldn't do now, but because they said it was witchcraft and teenagers, it would be just R no matter what we did. So that was just weird.
Yeah, I think it doesn't make sense just because it's teens and witchcraft. I mean, it's a teenage wave should be R.
I don't even think they didn't know if they wanted to make the movie, and they brought us all out for a screen test, and we filmed 2 scenes, like all together, and apparently like the studio, they were like fast forwarding through the speaking scenes, but the thing that made them go, we want to make this movie, was us all in Catholic schoolgirl outfits, like walking to a Morrissey song with our boobs shaking. They were like, that looks good.
And they're like, we get it.
That is funny. With the film though, there was a story between you and Robin on the behind-the-scenes featurette, where you had phenomena on the actual set. The tides came in on certain things, you lost power. Butterflies showed up in shots that we were going to put fake butterflies. Robin didn't seem to believe any of it, but you do, Andy. So I'm trying to figure out who's...
No. Well, the one thing that absolutely happened is there's the shot where they were doing an incantation on the beach. This is the overhead shot, and we had said, like, let's build the ring of fire inside the highest tide line. And we did, and the ranger was there, but every time you guys did the incantation, the surf came up. I'm telling you, this happened. And at one point, it washed out the set. And the ranger said, the waves have never come up that high. And it was a calm night.
And we had to
and
go
it's
back.
in the movie. You can see it in one of those overhead shots. It washes out the ring of fire.
It's funny
because this happened.
Because Robin's like in the featurette, she's like, it's a beach, tides roll in. It's just the opposite of.
I was like a 22-year-old smart ass. Like, he's just trying to sell the movie, and I remember that I was hired.
And okay, so when the movie was filmed, we'll go over to the audience after this. There was actually the first third of the movie, you wear this rather hideous outfit that you hated apparently. And at the end of the movie, I guess around the wrap party or whatever it was, you did in fact burn the outfit, like.
No, I wanted to burn the wig. Did we burn the outfit?
Oh, you should have burned the wig.
Yeah, I should have burned that wig. It would have smelled bad though. It was real hair.
Okay. All right, let's do a few questions. If there's anyone, just pop your hand up. Yep, right there.
First off, thank you both of you so much for coming here. It's such a thrill and pleasure to have you guys here. I love is it Graham Revel? Graham Revel, I don't exactly know.
Graham Revel, yeah.
Graham Revel. How did he come about doing the music? Because it's very, very influential.
Because he'd done The Crow beforehand, and I really liked that, and it felt like the same kind of mood. And he was great. Yeah, he was very good. Graham Revel. He did the composer. He did the score.
Anyone else? Hands up. No?
Looks like I want to enjoy the movie.
One more. This last one.
If you don't mind sharing, what was like the funniest scene or little like tidbit that happened between the cast or between the cast and crew? That's just like is a highlight for you in that moment in time.
It was actually a very heavy shoot. It seemed like somebody cried every day. It was really not very funny.
And that was the second part of my question. Like, what was like the heaviest or like the most serious and then dark moment?
The lights went out?
There was that scene.
It was dark every
There
day.
was a scene after I get date raped by
Pete Ulrich?
Yeah. One of the more pleasant date rapes I've had. And I remember we were doing this scene, and it was with the girls where I come back to tell them, and we were doing the scene. It didn't end up in the movie, but Fruza was like, I've been raped too. And I was like, really? But it was like as the character. And like, it was like this complete, and she was really good. I was like riveted. I was like, I didn't know Nancy was date raped too. But Andy was so great with us because he let us do, like, as far as like the improvising anything, doing things, it was so free and you really felt like you had a voice. And I think, you know, being a 22-year-old actress, like, everybody seems like grown-ups and they're the ones that are like giving you the rules. And I think it was just like a really free, great experience. He was so good with us, and I think
I just didn't know what I was doing.
All right, and then I actually had one more question that I forgot earlier because I was listening to the commentary. I think all 4 lead girls kill it. I think they all own their parts perfectly, and I wouldn't want any other cast. But in the commentary you said, I don't know which, you didn't reveal exactly which 3, but you had it down to the wire, and you were screen testing with one other actress, and you almost said the name in the commentary. And so now that it's like not the 90s or the 2000s, no, it was one of the 4 leads. It was down to like Nev, Robin, and I think Rachel. And there was another actress that did the 2 test scenes that you talked about. And you didn't say the name then, and I'm hoping you'll say it now.
No.
All I know is that the folklore was that Kate Winslet did audition for my part. I was like, you should have gotten her. She's a way better.
The studio did not approve Kate Winslet. She auditioned, and I was like, she's so, because she'd been in Heavenly Creatures, and I was like, she's so amazing.
Yeah.
And the studio.
Sorry, everybody. You'd be enjoying a Kate Winslet performance tonight.
That's all I'll give you.
I would rather a Robin Tunney performance.
Yes!
All right, now, thank you guys for coming. Let's watch this movie because there's a reboot coming, I think, and no one wants to see that shit. So, once again, guys, I am Moviedude18 on Twitter, Instagram. I do these things for free. The more you promote it, the more I can do it and do things like this. This is like dreams come true right here. So up next, the theater has John Waters' Polyester next Friday. But with that said, thank you again, Robin and Andy. You were awesome. And let's get this movie started.